And I'm live. That is cool. And today is 1st of September 2025, Tuesday. And yeah, it is already September. That is cool. Let's begin the stream. And today the stream is on ultra low latency. And I hope it goes well. Here it says 16 seconds and 29 seconds. Maybe it is going to catch up in a while. So that is actually going very fast. Now it is back to normal time, normal duration. Okay, let's go. And this is LLDB. I was trying to do some stuff. Tmux set, Tmux attach, TCP. Yep, go to the 1400 level folder where everything is. And if at any point there is something wrong with the stream, it would be really cool if you could tell me in the comments, in the chat. And anyways, let's begin with CP31. And it would be actually cool if this thing works because my upload speed is at 1200 kbps, 12,000 kbps, and the latency second setting is at ultra low latency. So I hope it works. And let's begin doing the next question at 1400 level. Yesterday we did 4 questions and sequence. Yep, we did and sequence in which the main thing was we had to take the and of the whole thing and find the numbers in the given sequence which are equal to that and value, and then do some permutation stuff to calculate the final answer. And in ball in Birdland. Yep, this one used bipartite graphs, and it was pretty easy. But the only unique thing about this was, first of all, it was bipartite graph, but that was pretty obvious looking at the question. But the second thing that I learned from this was how to avoid double counting, and that was cool. And zero remainder in array. Yes, this one was actually cool. This one was actually cool. I got a wrong answer on test 5 2 times because of some stupidity. Because in my code, I got integer overflow error here, even though when I changed res to long in the next submission, see here now res is long, I was still getting a integer overflow error because this thing is an integer. And this thing was the thing that was overflowing. So in the final submission, I had to change this thing into long right here. Now this is long and is not overflowing. And yep, and the other thing about this was the observation that when I complete a cycle, I go through every possible values of x in the modular arithmetic sense. That was simple, not simple, but that was cool. Johnny and another rating drop. And this one was cool. This one was actually cool. This used recursion in some sense. What are the tags? Bit mask and greedy maths. Yep, recursion, some sense. And this was actually cool. This was actually cool. And today we will begin with this question. All good, cool. Even though it says error, I don't know why it says error, but cool. This is cool. In my OBS, it says 0 frames have been dropped. So I suppose It is pretty cool. You need to change video resolution. The current resolution is this, which is not supported for this configuration. The expected video resolution is dot dot dot. The expected video resolution is 1920 1080, but this is also fine. This is fine. And we can begin doing this question. Is everything set up except for this? And I also made some changes in my LSP. Let me show you. Okay, so the configuration for Clang D LXP goes in Mac OS. It goes into this folder, library slash config, or no, it was library slash LLVM. No, it was library slash Clang. Shit, I totally forgot. Library slash preferences, Clang D, and config.yaml is the file for configuring our thing, for configuring the LSP Clang D. And what this thing is doing is, if the file on which I'm invoking Clang D, if it matches any of these things, which I do not actually need, I only need to make sure it is CPP file. So if the file that I am invoking Clang D on, if it is a CPP file, then add these two flags. Make the standard C++20 and include this thing. And what is this thing? This thing is, I have created a folder called lib, a directory called lib, this one, and it has the thing for competitive programming, this whole thing. The file that we include at the top of our CP code, uh, bits slash std c++.h, and this works. So let's just begin. NeoVim is running and everything seems cool. And we can start. Yep, 0 frames have been dropped and latency is ultra low. Let's go. There are n models in the shop numbered from 1 to n with sizes S1 to Sn. Or OREC will buy some of the models and will arrange them in. Wait, have I done this? No. And there are n models in the shop numbered from 1 to n with sizes Sn. Okay. OREC will buy some of the models and will arrange them in the order of increasing number, that is indices, not sizes. Okay. OREC thinks that the obtained arrangement is beautiful if for any two adjacent models with indices j and j plus 1, note that if for any two adjacent indices I and I j plus 1, j plus 1 is next because OREC arranged them properly. I j plus 1 is divisible by the last one, and Sij is lower than this. Okay. For example, 6 models with sizes this, and he can buy models with indices 1, 2, and 6. 1, 2, and 6. And the obtained arrangement will be beautiful. Also note that the arrangement with exactly one model is also considered beautiful. Or wants to know the maximum number of models that he can buy, and he may ask you these queries many times. Okay, okay. 1, 2, and 6. 1, 2, and he may buy 6. But this thing is not divisible. The index has to be divisible, but and the value has to be greater than the last one. So dynamic programming, right? Yep. This is like somewhat like increasing sequence, maximum increasing subsequence. So when I am here, when I am at any index, what do I need to know? I need to know what is the closest thing to this thing that is divisible by this. Not divisible, but that is lower than this. And also its index is divisible. So I can store all of these. Yeah, cool. Cool. This will be cool. This will be cool. And he can ask me the same thing. Or wants to know the maximum number of models he can buy, and he may ask you these queries many times. What does that mean? The first line contains this T, okay. Then each query contains two lines. The first line, one integer between 1 to 100, the number of models in the shop, 100,000. And the second line contains n integers. And it is guaranteed that the sum does not exceed this thing. So even if I go square, it will be at border 10 power 10. But I don't have to go square. Yep, I don't have to go square. The earlier index, when I am at a particular element, I have to go back. But when I go back, if I am here, the index of this thing is 3. I can only go here. Yep, all the factor. Okay, okay. I can find the minimum factor of these numbers. Yes, I would need the factors of these numbers so that I only consider the factors, the elements that are at the indices, which are the factors of the current index that I am at. Right. How do I do that? The index of this element is 6 and 6. I can calculate the SPF of all the numbers till, yeah, SPF of all the numbers in this range. And when I am at a place like this, SPF 6, I will divide 6 by the SPF and I will get 3. And then the index below that would be 3 divided by the SPF of 3, which is 3. So that is cool. Okay, yeah, dynamic programming. And we go. CPP, boilerplate. Shit. I am using this thing using namespace std. Hey, what is the change? Shit, this thing is not working. This thing is literally not working. Okay, okay, shit. I have to stop my timer. My LSP broke. My LSP broke. I have to fix my LSP. Wait a minute. Yes. Find this thing in the seller and include the latest version, this part, and library, preferences, clang D. It, inside preferences, I have library, uh, preferences, clang d config.yaml, and here paste this, and hopefully I don't see any error here when I do lsp restart. Okay, we will make do for the time being, or maybe let's, yeah, it is included in the latest one. Maybe I should also include this one. Library preferences, clang config dot YAML, and here hopefully this works. Attach tmux. Let's restart and shit. Why is it not including this? Bits C, not this. And OPG homebrew seller GCC 15 include C++ 15 Part-64 bits std C++ dot. Shit. Why is it commented out? Why why are things commented out? Is it commented out? It is checking for some condition and then doing its thing. While not found. Anyways, okay. I think this is fine. This is fine. Yeah. Now it should be cool. If C++, what is underscore C++? Just include them. Include bitset. Yes, I will need bitset. And okay, cool. I think it should work now. Tmux, attach TCP, LSP, restart. Cool, cool. It is working now. It is working now, and we can begin our work here. Start. What is the format? And I need to write void SPF. I need to find the SPF. Uh, SPF. So vector long long, vector long long, and SPF size range +1. And what is range? Range is const int range equals 1E5. Yep. And fill SPF does not take anything, simply starts a loop for int I equals 1I less than equal to range I plus plus. And what is my starting point? I do not start with 1. I do not start with 1. Uh, yep. I do not start with 1. I will see that SPF of 1 equals 1. And then we start with 2. And we will set SPF 2 equals if SPF of I, then continue else SPF I equals I, and for int x equals I square I into I, while I is lower than or equal to range I plus equals I, keep increasing by I, SPF x equals I, right? And fill SPF. Yep. Now we will have our array, the long size n and I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus, cn, ai. I have everything that I need. And now answer, array for answer, vector long response size n plus 1, and let's just make this one index. Now what do I need? Resolution, response for 1 equals print t lines, test number of lines. The ith of them, each query contains 2 lines. The first line contains one integer, n, the number of models in the shop, and the second line contains the sizes. Okay, cool. It is just simple test cases. Print t lines, the ith of them should contain the maximum number of models that he can buy for ith query, for ith query. Okay, that is a bad way to write your question, but okay. For this is I need the maximum number of model, and for the first index it is going to be 1, and I will also have int mx equals 1. And now for int I equals, since you already know the answer for 1, we will start iterating from this, and I plus plus, and maybe this might be too small. Now it might be fine. Now, when I am at a particular index, I need to know the answer for that. Int c equals 1. It just includes this thing. It just includes this thing. And I will see how far back I can go, or for which thing the answer is greatest. Yep. For int x equals I. Yes, for int x equals I and x greater than equal to 0, greater than 0, and x, yeah, nothing. I will do the thing inside. I need to update x with the SPF. Okay, and inside, what I have to do is if the current element at ax is divisible if ax remainder with ai. If that does not exist, if it is divisible, then and c is smaller than response for that thing, then c equals response for x. Response for x plus 1, because the current one is also included. Yep. Res plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And how will x change? X equals x divided by SPF of x. Yep. Yes. And when x equals 1, I will break. When x equals 1, it will keep on, keep on going. Yep. When x equals 1, it will keep on going and never end. So I have to stop this, which I will check here. If x equals 1, break. And I am not checking this after this thing, because after this thing, when x does become equal to 1, I have to iterate this thing once. And when I do, I will break after that. Okay. After this, res of I equals c, and mx equals maximum of mx and res I. Okay, because one of them is long, and the other is, I thought something is again wrong with my LSP, but that is fine. Then see out max, and hopefully this is correct. Let's see. Okay, wrong answer. That is very uncool. 1 1. Why? Okay, 1 1 is not correct. Absolutely not correct. If the last thing is divisible, right? And while x is greater, x equals SPF. Yes, that is also correct. Okay, see out. Yes, makes sense. That is because of this. CD 1400 line plus plus. The name of the program is the orec dot snap. Okay, makes sense. I was being too smart. Okay, this thing, right? This thing, and dot ZSHRC client plus plus. I do not want to include this every time I do this thing. So space I include this thing every time, and cool. Source by dash users, then Raghav slash dot switch or C. Cool. And now it should come. It should have compiled. I added this thing. Right. Yep. I added this thing, let's also add this thing just in case clang. Yes, that is the command. I I include this thing and okay, let's see. Source here. Shit, maybe I had to source here. I don't know. Let's see. Source dot zsh rc, and now are the compiler flags not running correctly? Library preferences. These are the ones I have provided here, and these are the exact ones I'm providing to my LSP. Maybe standard. Yeah, I also have to provide the standard. SPD equals C plus plus 20. And how many dashes are there in the standard? One maybe? Source. Shit, doesn't work, doesn't work. Okay, it is not compiling. ZSHRC include this whole thing, which is absolutely correct, which is absolutely correct. Let's say I also have a custom file. Maybe if I include that, users slash lib source ZSHRC and blank plus plus source yeah, blank plus plus b slash alpha. Okay, okay. Why does this not work here? Okay, makes sense because there are changes that have to be made there. Dot ZSHRC shit. LSP is not working. Okay, this should yes, this should be working. Like there is no reason why this shouldn't be working. Because this is the exact same thing which is here in preferences clang d config.yaml. These are the exact things I am using here. Standard equals to this thing. Copy the slowly moving back. Bits, inside bits, there is std, C++, and this thing works. Select. Okay, this thing works. This thing works. So this thing is correct. And I am also providing this here. Standard is C++. Like the same thing that I am giving there. Standard 20 source dot zfhrc, and source here also source user slash dot zfhrc blank plus plus. Okay, okay, it is working, it is working, it is working, it is fine, it is fine. Hello, hello, how are you? It is fine, working. Okay, and what was the thing? Yep, I just have to run this and find out what is happening with any one of these. Let's check what is the response for this one. One test case which has this stuff 0 1 1 1 1. Okay, so for the first thing, answer is 1. That is correct. And I am stupid, and not this. I have to check this. Okay, okay. Let's see. Now here I'm seeing 2 and here I'm seeing 1 somehow. Blank dot slash out. Only one test case which has this stuff. I say the answer for this thing is 2. Yes, and I should output 2, and 2 is the correct answer. Why don't I output 2 for this? I do output 2, but for the second one, I'm giving the wrong answer for this one. It might be because of some stupid thing. Okay, I have to also output response. Okay, answer for all of them is 1 somehow. Index 1. Okay, index 2 for this answer should have been 2, but it is not. X is the uh, okay, my bad, my bad. It was my mistake. Okay, first I'm taking in everything, and let's see. Shit, I was expecting this to work this time. Here it says 1. Okay, x equals I, right? And there is no change in x. Or maybe I can write this here. X equals x divided by SPF of x. Okay, it does not make sense. Yeah, that's dot slash out 1 7 1 4 2 3 6 4 9. 2 is the answer that I am giving. So why don't I output 2? I instead output 1 some due to some reason. Uh, Okay. See out. Rest I for some space. And here, see out a new line. 17142364 9. Why? Yeah, I'm giving the right answer there. So that is cool. Maybe I'm not taking the input in the right way. I am taking the input in the right way. One, one, one. One is the answer for the first one. Why am I messing up with the first one? Uh, C starts with 1. Rest 1 equals 1. Then you start I with the second element. Right. And for this element, the best answer that we begin with is 1. We initialize it. Or we can just do rest I equals 1. And C does not exist. That makes sense. Rest, this thing also makes sense. Rest I, rest I, rest I. Response for the ith element, and I have to change my initial condition here. I divided by SPF of I. Yep. Yep. And this thing actually is not doing anything because I am always dividing by the SPF. Okay, it now just keeps on running. X equals I divided by SPF of I. I should have reduced SPF. I'm just dividing it with the SPF. SPF filled. Is my SPF wrong? Is my SPF function wrong? Wrong. Right. Initially, everything is 0. Now it is 0 for sure. And then SPF, smallest prime factor of 1 is 1, right? And then we begin with I equals 2 less than equal to range I plus plus SPF I. If SPF I is non-zero, that is we have done stuff for this thing. Then move forward. Otherwise, put SPF I equals I and then start iterating. Yes, I square, right? Go up till range I plus equals I. Yep. Add x plus equals I. X will be increased by I. Shit, X was never increasing here. Why was this thing even running? Shit. Why am I checking I in range? Okay, my SPF was messed up. My SPF function was messed up. Is it correct now? Seems to be. or maybe not. Segmentation fault. Where segmentation fault less than equal to range. Yep, should be less than equal to range, and x plus equals whatever the value of I is, right? So that should be in range. But for this thing, uh, x greater than 0, but that shouldn't be the thing. Yep, that is not the thing. I divided by SPF of I and AX. Yep, if AX lower than AI and response at AI is lower than result at AX plus 1, then update result at AXI. And if at any point x equals 1, break maximum, maximum. Shit. There is some mistake. There is some mistake. And what I'm trying to do, what I will do now is we will use LLDB. It is LLVM debugger for C++. I was looking at this thing today, and it does help us to figure out where the segmentation fault is. So first we have to compile this thing with the G flag, which creates some files which will be used by the debugger. Now execute this and LLDB with dot slash out. Okay, now current executable is this, and yep, it is working. Now what we have to do is run maybe. I do not completely understand this thing. I'm just learning. See, segmentation fault comes at this line specifically. SPF of x equals I. Stopped because this is out of range at this particular thing. Bad access error at this line, line number 20. That is much better than manually finding out where we messed up. Wait, line 20. This thing went out of range. How? Because it is always in range. How did this go out of range? SPF x, and x is lower than equal to range. And yes, so why is this thing wrong? SPF is range plus 1. So at maximum, I will be equal to range. X will be equal to range. And when that is, everyone should be happy. So by the way, this thing was very cool. We could just use our debugger and it tells me exactly where the thing happened. That is cool. That is actually very cool. That is cool. I'm right now trying to learn how this thing works, how to use LLDB correctly. And when I can, I will be using this only, even to run my programs normally. I equals 0. I less than equals to range. That is cool. But the error comes at this part. I do I square, which is fine, which is fine, which is fine. Maybe it is overflowing. Yep, it could be overflowing. Yes, it could be overflowing. When I is very big, it could be overflowing. And x might be negative at that point. Let's see. That was the thing. It was overflowing and becoming negative. So now it is cool. If I run again, yeah. Okay, it is executing the last one. Yes. It LLVM does not know the new program that we have written. Now it is cool. Now it is cool. Now it does work, and we will submit this thing. Hello, moral station, and like, do not call him sir. Please give me and give you and just saying. Yes, you have to ask the question. And the latency is, I think, pretty cool latency right now in the stream. It is at ultra low latency. Right here, ultra low latency. On consistency, we just have to be consistent. Just like David Goggins says, man the fuck up. Like that is the only answer to that question. That is the way, right? There is no other way. And for this thing, since I there is one option, I could either go through and read the whole thing and make sure that the logic is correct, or as a good competitive programmer, delete the whole thing and write the whole code from scratch and see if it is still works. Right? Yep. And this is not something that you do during a contest. You do not do this during a contest. So this is just for right now while we are practicing. SPF, size is range, and cool. Fill SPF does not take in anything. And SPF 1 equals 1. And for long, we will not make the same mistake again. I e lower than range, I plus plus. And if SPF I, then continue, else SPF I equals I, and for long, x equals I into I, and x less than range, and x plus equals I. And what we have to do is SPF of x equals I. This will fill the thing, fill SPF, call the function 6 n CNN and vector LL A size n or n plus 1 to make this 0 index, to make this 1 index, I equals 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus Cn AI. And now I have all the numbers. Vector long response vi response size n plus 1, and response for the first one is going to be just 1, and also int mx equals 1. We'll begin with 1, and now for int I equals 2, we will start from the second index, I less than equal to n and I plus plus. And for this current number, yep, we will initialize its answer with 1, and then for int x equals I divided by SPF of I, and we won't check anything, and we will make sure x divided by equal to SPF of x. And now if res x is lower than response at I, and no, if the value a x is lower than ai, and after that we will check res I, the current response, is lower than res x plus 1, then update res I equals res x plus 1, y plus 1, because we are also adding the current number to the list. And afterwards, mx equals maximum of this I comma mx. See out mx with a new line. Let's see if it works. Or maybe it just keeps on running. Shit. Shit, 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 shit. I messed up somewhere. I messed up somewhere. I lower than range. Yes, I plus plus. L huh. X will be lower than range, and I am incrementing X. That is correct. Okay, I did mess up. Yes. Yes, if X equals 1, like, cool. Let's submit the whole thing and see what we did, how we did. Yep. Okay. Wrong answer, wrong answer. Shit, 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 shit. Wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer. That is bad. Wrong answer, wrong answer. Shit. Okay, beautiful. Hmm. Wrong answer. Okay. I thought maybe we could get time limit exceeded, but not wrong answer. I'm taking in the input. Then response for the first one is 1. This is dynamic programming. Int mx equals 1. We start with yes. Yes, it will always be at least equal to 1. And then I equals 2. Yes. And then this thing x, we will start from the largest number that I is divisible by, and that number would be smallest I divided by smallest prime factor of I, which, for example, for a number like 16, it would be 8. I, that is 16, 16 divided by 2, it would be 8. And yep, start x from there and do not check any condition. Checking condition is here, which I have to check after I do this. Maybe shit, I could use a do while loop here, but this is also fine. X. Now that makes sense. This thing makes sense. This thing makes sense. Makes sense. Shit. Okay, 6. If the number is 12, no, this is fine. This is fine. I think if the number is the multiple of first few prime numbers, let's say if I equals 2 into 3 into 5 into 7 into 2 into 2, let's say. So 8 and 40, 120, or 8, 40, 280, 280 into 3 is 810. 810 would be the number, and the smallest prime factor for this number would be 2, and whatever I get, which would be 405, and that is wrong. Shit, I messed up. 750 plus 280 into 3, so 40. Yep, 420. Here also the smallest prime factor is 2. We divide this by 2, we would get 210. We divide this by 2, we will get, which is, yeah, which is correct, which is the product of all the single digit prime numbers, 210. And is there no number in middle? that is divisible by these. For example, if I were to divide 840 by 5, that would also be divisible by this. Makes sense. Makes sense. So the way that I'm doing this, that is wrong. Yep. So I need to find all the factors of this current number that I'm at. Factors. Shit. Yep. And one by one, divide the whole thing by all the factors. And before I do that, nicely done. Loop logic. Yep. Thank you. Before I do that, let me fix up a few things here in my room. I just give me 1 minute. Yo, back. Me totally back. Okay, so I have to change the way that I am traversing through the numbers. I need to cycle through all the factors for a number, and that is a bit crazy actually. So n is at max, as we know, 10 power 5 at max. So if I pre-calculate all the factors for all the numbers in this range, pre-calculating all the factors is crazy. Pre-calculating. Wait, maybe not. It is kind of recursive, right? If I want to know the factors of 100, I can calculate it on the spot using SPF. That is one way. Using SPF. Yep. For that, let's say it would take time. It would take time. It would actually take time. So instead of that, if I pre-calculate, it is going to take n square time this 10 power 5 square 10 power 10, which is 20 seconds. Time limit is 3 seconds. Can I fast up the process? Maybe I do not have to go through everything. If I know a few factors for some number, say if I want to know factors of 100, but no, I need the factors up front. Right? I could go through the SPF thing and find all the factors. I could go there, like SPF for 100 would be 2, and this would give me 50. This would give me 50, and then for 50 SPF is 2. But this is bad. Why? Because to get all the factors, I would have to multiply the new factor that I got with all the factors that have been in the list, and that is not good. Instead, maybe, no, I don't have to. I don't have to. Shit, okay. I don't have to iterate in my SPF logic, which is right here. I am going from 1 till range -1. I can first of all reduce this, I think. Range. No. No. No, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This has to be there. This is there. Okay. Initially, every number is in this range. Mhm. Will I store a matrix to store all the factors? I just need all the factors for a given number, and I could look up the method to do that, but we are learning right now. So creating the method is cool, and this does not feel very cumbersome to do. So that is cool. We can do this. SPF. I think the maximum I that I have to go through in this range would be under root of range. It just somehow feels correct. If I go till under root of range, because if this is a range, if it is perfect square, which it is not, which it is not in our case, because range is 10 power 5, so that is not a perfect square. So and this is going to be, when I take this, if I take the lower bound of this number and then add 1 to it and then square the number, whatever I get is going to be greater than the range. That means I do not have to go there. That means I do not have to go there. So I want to make sure that when I go there, if when I'm iterating here and I need factors for some number in this range, I would get it. I would get it, but I have to make sure something, that if that number is prime, then what do I do? Then what do I do? Then I can initialize. I would have to change SPF from this, and I'm not claiming this is the best method. I just think this will work, and I can look up the verified correct method later. Vector of long, long is not cool. Vector of int is fine. Initialize. Yep, yep, yep. And yeah, here dot pushback one. And then I have to make one loop run. Yes, I have to make one loop. One loop will run I equals 1 till I less than range I plus plus. What this will do is SPF I dot pushback I. Yep, SPF I pushback I. Yes, and here I would have to change the whole logic. How do I check if the current number is prime? If SPF I dot size equals 1, then this number is prime. It is not that I would have to go through anyways because I am calculating all the factors. Shit, shit. The time complexity is going to be very high. But the plus side is while I into I is lower than range. So under root of 10 power 5, what is it? 100 something? Let's say what? 500. What is 500 to 5? 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah, that's fine. That is fine. 500. So we will do this for 500 numbers at max, but we will do this for lower, less than 500 numbers. But okay. And yes, at max, let's say this goes for at max. This will not go for every number. It will not go for 10 power 5 numbers. So at max, time complexity is going to be this, which is very fine, which is fine. And now what we have to do is for long x, it will begin at 2 into x. 2 into x. Yes, 2 into I, because that is the next number. Yeah, yep. And x lower than range and x plus equals I. Keep adding. Yes, yes. And then SPF for x dot pushback I as one of the factors. And here, actually what I can do, one will not be there, one will not be there. So maybe I should also add pushback 1 here for all the numbers and call this. Yep, change, substitute SPF with fact. Okay, and here pushback I. Yep, fact I dot pushback 1. First pushback 1 and then pushback this number. So that one would be the last thing. Yes, I can change this whole logic. Fill SPF. Okay, fill fact. And here, when I am at a number for long x in fact of this number, but this will start iterating from the left, and that would be 1, and I do not want that. So for int x equals fact I dot size -1 and x greater than 0, because the first number is 1, greater than equal to 0. Yes, and x minus. That is cool. Now it is divisible. I What I have to check is if the value at that thing, value at what thing, value at fact I bracket x thing, or I can iterate. Can I iterate? Yep. For auto x equals r fact I dot r begin while x is not equal to fact I dot r end and x plus plus. What we are checking now, x, if I take the value at x, it points to a factor of I. So if a go to x is lower than a I and response of I is lower than response of whatever x is plus 1, then res I equals res go to x plus 1. That totally doesn't seem overcomplicated, over-engineered, because it is correct. So that is cool. It is correct. Yo, NUM is cool. NUM is pretty cool. I'm learning how to use LLDB, and it is going to be actually pretty cool when I can use LLDB. And now let's write the whole thing, submit, and see how it goes. GNU G++, compiler, and okay. So something messed up, something messed up, something messed up, something is messed up. And I do not, and I hope it is not a segment fault or something error like that, runtime error. Nope, it is pure wrong answer. I will not look at the problem statement till maybe I might be able to figure out what is wrong. Fact 1. Mhm. Yes, fact 1. And let's test this for the thing that was given here. This one for this input. 3 6 and then 4 sevens. Only one test case which has 6 things. 3 3 6 1 2 3 4. Answer is 3, which is correct. 3 is correct, but it is messing up at bigger numbers. Si is always in this range. Yes. So what is the problem? I equals to while I less than equal to n, which is also correct. And I am supposing that my fill factors function is completely correct. And yep, initialize the answer to 1, because if there is no eligible answer, then default should be this. And then I am iterating through the factors of this current number. Fact, yep, factors of this current number, factors of the ith number, and I can iterate through them in any order. I can iterate through them in any order, does not matter. And x plus plus. Yep, I can do that. Or pushback 1. Maybe this thing here and then this thing here. And I don't even need this. We start from 1. We start from 1. Right. And right after, or maybe even before. Yes, before or anytime, maybe after, does not matter. What we will do is fact dot insert I. What is that? That is wrong. Fact I dot insert I, because I is also in pushback I. And when I equals 1, this will go through n, yeah, n times And then when I is 2, then I by n by 2, and then n by 3 plus n by 4, then n by 5. The time complexity for this function is n plus n by 2 plus n by 3 plus n by 4 plus n by 5, and that is a GP, summation for a GP. What is the summation for a GP? If r equals 1, if r is not equal to 1, then the sum of the first n terms is Sn equals a multiplied by r power n minus 1 divided by r minus 1. Shit, I know that. S equals a, our base case, which is n into, wait, since how many terms are there, are going to be n terms, n square, but divide into 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1. Shit, since I already have plus 1 here, so it is going to be n square. N square is not good. N square is not good. But yeah, n square is not good. But it does work though, right? Yep, it does work. And this thing only happens once. But this thing is not going till the end. Yes, this thing is not going till the end. It is only going till I square. Yeah, yeah. So how many n square multiply by, shit, why is it is not n square. It is not n square. It is not n square. I am taking n common from all of them. So n into 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4, and I am fucking stupid. The thing that was there before was there for a reason. For int I equals 1, I less than, range I plus plus. What I have to do is fact I dot pushback 1 as their factor, and then fact I dot push back the number also as its own factor. We'll start from here, from the start, and factors of number of 1 are pushback 1. Yep. Increase this by 1. For int I starts at 2. Answer is correct, but for this only, it does not work here in the second test case. I get wrong answer there. This is bad. My initial base cases is all base cases are also cool, and yep, yep. Response for the ith thing is initially equal to 1, and then I iterate through all of the factors from the end to the start, or it does not even, I think the order does not matter. The order actually does not matter. The order does not matter. Yes, int x in fact I. Substitute, go to x with x. So AI, AX, if AX is lower than AI, which is correct, which is cool, if that is the case, and this would be false when x equals I or some crazy thing. So that is cool. That is right. I did change this. Cool. It is working. It is working. And response, and this, whatever the current response is, if it is lower than this response, then update the current response and then match it with the maximum and then return the maximum at the end. Okay, this should work. This should have worked. Let's check. We are essentially doing the same thing, submitting the same code and hoping that it works now. It doesn't, so we can look at the test case because it has been very long, more than an hour on a single question. On the first line, it is wrong because the first test case is this. Okay, my output is 5 and the correct answer is 6. Do I understand the problem statement correctly? There are n models in a shop ranging, and my phone is going to die. I don't know why it just doesn't charge. Shit. Okay, this happens sometimes, happens to the worst of us. Hmm, It is not charging. So if my camera goes out in the middle, it is fine, I guess. It would be fine. Okay, it is charging. So that's cool. That's cool. It is charging now. Cool. Okay, there are n models. Auric will buy some of the models and will arrange them in the order of increasing numbers, indices, but not sizes. Why do you have to say this like this? Auric thinks that is there something that I do not understand? In the first query, why do you call it query? For example, Auric can buy two models with indices 2 and 4. Indices 2 and 4. Yes, indices 2 and 4. The arrangement will be beautiful because 4 is 2 and 4. 4 is divisible by 2 and the thing at index 2 is lower than this. And 6 is more than 3. By enumerating, we can easily find that there are no beautiful arrangements with more than 2 models. In the second query, uh, Auric can buy models with indices 1, 2, 1, 3, and 6. By enumerating, we can easily find there are no beautiful arrangements with more than 3 queries. In the third, there are no beautiful arrangements with more than one model. In the third, yes. And in the fourth, there are no other things, only one element is there. So why? Why does this not work in my particular case? Cn has taken all the numbers and then compare if the current number is lower than this thing and this factor. This thing is a factor of AI, of I. X is a factor of I. So that is cool. X is a factor of I. That is cool. Let's see this thing. See out fac factors of 9999 or 9998. And I can get my snippet. Now slash out one test case which has just one element and which is 9. Shit, that is horrible. That is horrible. That is wrong. My factorial function is wrong. My function is wrong. Shit, 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 shit. My function that finds factors is wrong somehow. X dot pushback I. What is the thing for 8? Let's see. Factors of 8. 1, 1, and 9, let's say. Factors of 8 are 1, 8, 2, 4. That is correct. But here, why is this wrong? Maybe because above here I have to make this on this. Here I think I should make this less than or equal to range. I square less than or equal to range. Not I square, but yeah, 2 into I is less than equal to range. Now let's see what would be the output for that big number again. 9, 8. Let's add one more 9. And this should be a very big number, a very big list, or maybe not. Okay, shit, is this thing prime? That would explain a few things. Let's go with some other numbers. 4, 5. Let's out. 1, 1, 9. Okay, that is actually correct. That shit, now it should work. So if this works now, then the mistake was in this function, which was finding the factors of all the numbers. Let's see. Let's see if this is correct. And it's been 1 hour and 30 minutes doing a single question. That is fine. It is in queue and okay, 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 okay. Accepted. Okay, so that was the mistake. That was the mistake. That was the mistake. 1 hour and 22 minutes. 1 hour and 22 minutes. 1 hour 22 minutes. Okay, shit. Now we are cool. But this was cool. This was cool. I had to, in a way, devise. I knew about SPF, but the way to find all the factors for a number. This was cool. This was cool. Finding factors for a given number, all the factors for a given number. This was cool. I had to do this. And what were the other things? And this was basically the main thing in this question. This was basically the main thing in this question, and that's cool. We got it. Bro, currently rated 1000 at code force. How much time will it take to reach 1600? At least. It would depend on how much time you are giving solving questions daily. If you are, well, currently I am not at 1600, but it took me to get from 800 to being able to solve 1400 related questions about 2.5 months. So if, but the difference between 1000 and 1600 is quite a bit, and it also depends on how much you are studying, how much time you are giving to your study. So I would say if you are solving problems daily and if you are consistent, then 2 months I think would be cool. 2 months. 2 months. Let's say 4 months. Even if it takes you 4 months, it it is cool, right? You will be at 1600. 4 months. 4 months should be cool if you are consistent and practicing every day and reading new things that you do not know about. So that would be cool. So we did this one, and let me predict, let me try to guess what the tags are going to be. I think the tags are going to include maths, maths, maths and DP, maths, DP, and number theory. Yeah, maths, number theory, same thing. So maths and DP. So that is cool. This educational round. This was not. Editorial B, OREC and models. Considering DP, we can design DP statuses as follow. F1 stands for the length of the longest beautiful sequence up till index I. Yes, we can find the transformation easily. Yep. And here, this thing means that for all the j's that are divisible by I, that divide I. This is the syntax to say that. And Sj is lower than Si. Yep. Then the length of the answer sequence is the maximum value among these. About the complexity of DB, if you transform by iterating multiples, it will be n log n. According to properties of harmonic series, if you iterate divisors, then it will be n root n. Fortunately, both of them are acceptable in this problem. Wait, there are two ways. If you transform by iterating multiples, it will be n log n. I, okay, and according to some harmonic series properties, if you iterate divisors, makes sense. Shit makes sense. This makes sense. Okay, if I'm iterating multiples, then it would be push DP or forward DP. But I'm doing this thing. Makes sense. But how would you iterate through divisors? The way that I'm using, we are iterating here through divisors, and I think this would be better. This would have been better. This would have been better to iterate through multiples because we are doing this anyways at this part. So that would have been better, and yep, that would have been better. There's a code. Read, and why do you need a function to read? Okay. And read into, why do you need a function to read into? Shit. Okay. Make this inline. Oh, yes, make this inline. Shit. Bro must be using Arch Linux. Blue Smoke. 2000 rated. One contribution. Shit. Loyalty, trust, faith, and desire carries love through each darkest fire. Shit. Bro watches anime. Bro has been at it for 7 years. And he gained a rating of 1400 in his first contest. And hasn't really been active. Shit. Okay. DP. Yep. This is archaic. This is archaic. You do not need to do this. Read int. Shit. This is giving me trauma. The way that he is reading integer. Int res equals 0. Yes, we start at 0. Char. Get the current next thing. And if it is digit, get char. If not digit, then get the character. Okay. Okay. And then while is digit, C, keep adding it to char to result, and then at the end return the result, and you have made it in line. Okay. Read int, right? And yep, read all the inputs, and fi equals 1. Okay, this guy is doing this similar to how I was doing this. Nope, no, 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 no. This is push forward DP. They are using push forward DP. Okay, and shit, they are not even. Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. They are doing push forward DP. That is cool. Int answer, and then going through the thing and finding the answer. Okay, that is cool. I would like to implement push forward DP now for my solution. But the thing is, they are saying that you could iterate through divisors. I want to know if the method that I used to iterate through the divisors, is it the optimal method, which I can check by asking ChatGPT. And that is what I will do. But here we can change a few things and make this thing push forward. DP, delete the whole thing and write the code from scratch. Like int n, c in n, and let's make this long, even though I don't have to. A size n plus 1, make it 0 indexed for auto x a c in x, and then int mx equals 1, and vi res size n plus 1, and we will iterate. We will iterate through the divisors for int I equals, we will start at the second index because we will start at the first index because push forward. Cool. And while I is lower than equal to n and I plus plus. And internally, we would have yes, internally yes, I also have to initialize everything to 0 to 1. Initialize everything to 1. Yeah. And then for int j equals 2 into I. Yes, because everything has been initialized. If I do not do this part, then I would have to start from I. So if we start at I, and we will go till j lower than equal to n and j plus plus, not j plus plus, j plus equals I. Keep adding I to j. And if j, the next thing, a j is greater than a I, and result of j is lower than res I plus 1. Yes, in that case, res I res j equals res I plus 1. And now I understand why this person had this loop at the end. This second loop at the end makes sense. Because you are iterating here in a very weird way, and to find the longest answer, you can just create a next loop for int x in res mx equals maximum of mx and x cout mx. Mm. Okay, we will not look at what is wrong. Mm, 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 mm. Yep, this is push forward dp if j is lower than I plus 1. Yes, then rest j, update the value for j. This should be working. Push forward dp. Let's see. It says 1 here, even though it should say 3. See out. Rest POV clang slash out, and the one that we want to see the answer on is this one. Here the answer is 3. Only one test case which has this. Okay, where is the answer? One test case 7 1 4 2 3 6 4 9. Wait, shit, why is it not returning anything? Is it taking too much time? Taken n. That makes a lot of sense. And I equals 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. C in AI. Now it should at least work out. 1 7 1 4 2 3 6 4 9. Answer turns out to be 2, even though it is not 2, it is 3. 1 7 1 4 2 3 6 4 9. It should have been 3. Yes, should have been 3, and this should have worked. Forward DP approach. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. So I can do this 2 into I. Start from there, and initially answer for everything is 1. Right, cool. That works, and my phone is going to die in a while. So if my camera goes out, that is fine. Yep. Insert I, 1 to n. Yo, Insert I 1 to N for A should consider switching to GCC has some cool policy-based data structures. GCC has some cool policy-based. I think they should be everywhere. Okay, other extra data structures that are not in Clang. That would be cool. That would be cool. I can default to GCC. Okay, I will check that out and insert from 1 to N for A. Ordered set and ordered map. Okay, and I'm supposing that ordered set is different from normal simple set. And and yes, one more thing. I was using LLDB, LLVM debugger. Uh, Shit, I was using it above. It is gone now. But yeah, it showed me where I was having my error. I was having a segmentation fault, and it pointed to the exact line where the segmentation fault was. So that is cool. Ordered set is a basically normal set, but there are extra methods which basically let you count the number of items less than or greater than the key that you insert. So like ordered set int e dot insert 4, insert all these numbers, extra methods. Okay, order of key, this is equal to 1. Mm, less than or greater than. That would mean there are one things less than 5. Okay, okay, it has extra methods. That is good. And if I had to calculate this using LLVM Clang, then I would have to use a dot uh, lower bound for this number, and then not lower bound, find this number and then subtract that from dot begin. That would give me the count for inversions, counting and login without having to merge sort methods. Yeah. Okay, I will see the extra methods. That is cool. Okay, yes, now I finally get this. You were referring to this thing. Yes, here. Yep. Okay, now makes sense. And good for inversion, counting and login without having to do merge sort method. Yeah, I do not know about the merge sort method, but thank you for pointing that out. I will look into it. Look into it, please. Shit. And you are participating in ICPC. That is cool. In 2 weeks, Asia Pacific journey planning. We can go there. And yep, I will start doing the next question now. It is just A in division 1. And division 1, maybe I will be able to do division 1A. Okay. Okay, let's go. Tanya wants to go on a journey, Tanzania. Go on a journey across the city of Birdland. Again, there are N cities situated along the main railroad of Berlin, and these cities are numbered from 1 to N. Tanya wants to plan her journey as follows. First of all, she will choose some city CI to start her journey. She will visit it. After that, go to some other city C2 greater than CI. Okay, they are numbered. Then to some other city, that is okay. She will keep moving forward until she chooses to end her journey in some city K. which was greater than ck minus 1. So the sequence of cities is this, should be strictly increasing. Okay. And it will be because makes sense because cities are numbered from 1 to n. There are some additional constraints on the sequence of cities Tanya visits. Each city I has a beauty BI associated with it. If there is only one city in Tanya's journey, these beauty values imply no additional constraints. But if there are multiple cities in the sequence, then for any pair of adjacent cities, the condition is the difference of the index should be equal to the difference of the beauty. And okay, okay. For example, if n equals 8 and these are the beauties, then difference between this and this is 1. Okay, this is, I feel like I have done a similar question. So only the differences matter. Yes. Okay, there are several possible ways to plan her journey. There are some valid. So what do we have to optimize? Tanya wants her journey to be as beautiful as possible. The beauty value of the whole journey is the sum of the beauty values of all the visited cities. Can you help her to maximize that thing? Okay, for this index, what is the best thing till now? It is just this. If I include this, if I include this, where can I go? No, I can go here. So the best answer at this would be a beauty of 7. And when I'm here, the best answer is 4. The best answer is this. No, if I include this thing, then what is the best answer? Makes sense. If I include this thing, then the best answer is this, this plus this, which would be 13. And here, the best answer would be 10 if I include this. And if I include this, the best answer would be 7 plus 6 plus 4. That is 17. That is the best overall. And here, the best answer would be just add 7. Yep. Uh, and that would be 17 plus 8, 25. And then add 9, 34 would be the best thing in this. One city. Okay. Let's find the answer for this one manually. At this point, if I add this city, the best possible beauty would be 10. And if I add this city, the best possible beauty would be 7. If I add this, beauty would be 1. If I add this, then 7 plus 9, that is 16. And 16 would be the best till now. And if I add this, then yes, I can add this to this 16, 26. That is the best beauty overall. And if I add this, then if I subtract 1, I get here 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 25. Best is 26. So that is cool. But I have to find a better way so that I can go back from a given index. N is 10 power 5. So I do not want the time complexity to be n square. So I need to find a efficient way which I can use to travel back. Yes, to travel back. When I am at 15, I do not want to go through all of these elements. Mm, What do I know? I absolutely, if I am here, I can absolutely skip all the elements that are bigger than my number. That is one thing. So that would mean something like a set if I if that is the only thing that I'm uh, optimizing for. But there could be other things. When I am at 15, can I directly go to 10? When I find the first number that satisfies the condition, then I do not have to look for the number before it. Makes sense. Then I do not have to look for the number before it. I can stop my search at the first number. Yes, that is something I can do. But the thing is, what if they are all in ascending order in some bad way? Whatever it is like, if whatever the beauty is like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, then if checking through all the elements before this, all the elements that are lower than my current number before this, if that is my way of going back 5%, my phone is going to die in a while. Yep, happens to the worst of us. And I'm making the same joke twice. Anyways, if my camera dies, then fine. It does not matter, I guess. I have to solve these questions. I will fix it later. Like from tomorrow, I will make sure that this thing works. And back to the question. So what I essentially need to find is, given a number, what are the eligible numbers, or what is the greatest eligible number that could be paired up with this? What is the greatest? Yes. Yes, because here if 10 could be paired up with 9 and 9 is paired up, could be paired up with 7, then 10, if 10 can be paired up with 9 and also with 7, then it is 100% given that 9 could also be paired up with 7. Therefore, I only have to pair up 10 with the biggest or closest number that could be paired up with 10. Okay, now all I have to do is find a way so that given a number like 10, I can find this. And so while I am going through, there must be something that I need, that I need to keep with me. For 5, I would like to see, is there a, no, for 15, there are two conditions. I can only look for a number on the left that is smaller than 15, that is numbers from 10 to 14, and also that number has to be at a particular index. Can I, while I'm iterating through this, know this? I can optimize in a way nope, nope, nope. Hmm. At max, it is going to be this. Beauty is going to be 10 power 5 at max. So, which means if my problem size is 10 power 5, 2 into 10 power 5, they could begin the beauty sequence like this: 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. And in this, nothing pairs up with anything. And the answer would be 10. But since for the last number, even for the number 10, 4 into 10 power 5, if my method of eliminating a number not being paired up with this current number is that if the number is smaller, then I will check if the smaller number is at the correct index. But that is wrong. That will take a lot of time. That is not wrong, but that will take a lot of time, because here every number before this is smaller than this, but nothing pairs up with this, because numbers are increasing at a rate of 2 and the index is increasing at the usual rate of 1. Even the beauty of the ith city. So I need to pre-compute something, 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 something. So here the answer is 55. Maybe push DP, push DP. But that, yep, even that is bad. Maybe, no, that is bad. That is bad. That would be bad in just this thing. Yeah, it would be bad in this. Maybe if I calculate the differences, here the difference, okay, let's see. Because the absolute values only matter when I'm finding the answer, but the pairing up matters because of the difference. Here the difference would be 1. Here it would be 17. And here it is, whatever it is negative. And but this is just in pairs. This brings forward the same problem. Right? Here this thing could be paired up with this. But how do I know this? I don't. Just the pairing up. Just the pairing up. Finding the biggest number to the left that could be paired up with the number on the right. Here I think the answer would be 14 plus 12, 26 plus, is my camera dead? Nope, not yet, not yet. It is going to die in a while. Make a nice observation from rearranging the equation. Okay, okay. Okay. Shit. Okay. At one point, there was a question in CP31 sheet itself in which I had to rearrange the thing and then the answer. Shit. This was very similar to that. Shit, shit, shit. So if I rearrange, and right, I will write it on my own. I will have CI plus 1 minus BCI plus 1. Shit. should be equal to CI minus BCI. Hmm. The current index, and just find the count for all of these numbers. Create a new array which contains for every index. Shit. And then find the count of all the numbers, or just plain old DP would be nice. Or a set, not a set, but a map, a map. For every CI is the index, CI is the index in AI, and BCI is its beauty, and index minus beauty plus plus in my map. Shit, this does not even use dynamic programming. I can do this using a map and then find the maximum value, because everything that has this thing can be. Nope. No. It cannot be. No, it can be. Because CI is whatever I define it to be. Right? Yeah. Cool. Yep, cool. Okay, it didn't work. Boilerplate, and then CNN, and what do we have? What we have is we have to read this. And then let's say VI. No, we don't need any VI. Map of integer to integer. Let's call it response, and int mx equals 0. And then for int I equals 1, I less than equal to ni plus plus, and this bracket uh, also int c to get in the current number, and I would have I minus c. I minus c has to be positive. No, it can be anything. It can be anything. I think, yes, I think it can be anything. It doesn't have to be positive. I can see here, yeah, it can be anything. Si plus plus, and mx equals maximum of mx comma result pi. See out maximum. And shit, I feel very stupid because this is the second time that I have made this mistake of not rearranging what is given to me. Shit. This is the second time that I have made the same mistake. And the question in which I made this mistake earlier, it was, I guess, 11 or 1200 rated. Okay. And when I made that mistake, I remember saying that I will not make this mistake again. But okay. Okay. Now I know. Even though I said the same thing earlier when I made the mistake for the first time. Let's see if it runs, and it should. Makes makes sense. It is not asking for the length, it is asking for the beauty. Wait, even when it is asking for the length, yeah, it is correct. When it is asking for the length, and So I can store a pair actually. And the second thing would plus let's see. I think if I initialize a pair from start, it will be it will be 0 because integer. Okay, so I can simply do res I minus C. C is the beauty, or B would be better. Dot first is the count, and res I minus B dot second plus equals B. Add the beauty, and here we are considering the beauty only. We do not care about the length. Right. Okay. Okay. And thank you for the hint. Yet I shouldn't have made this mistake. Okay, I know exactly what is wrong. Okay, I would have to change this. And yeah, I would hate to make a similar mistake in a contest. Long. Yep. I will actually take a penalty on this one. And when I write the time in here, the time it took me, I will add 10 minutes to the actual time because I took the hint. Lol. Yep. Ah, shit. Rearranging. Shit, I actually did that before. 25 minutes, 35 minutes penalty, even though it is 23 and a half. Chat. Rearranging. Let me write the solution again. Int n, take in n, and we would have a map integer pair int long, and we will call it response, and then int b to get the parent beauty for int I equals 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus, get the parent beauty, and response for the current thing, which is I minus b dot first is the count. Why would I need the count? Why do I even need? Okay, getting stupider by the minute. Why do I need the count? Why does it even matter? Let's bracket I minus b plus equals b. Add b and mx. I need a maximum. Long mx equals 0. Maximum equals max of maximum, and it is I minus b. See out maximum. Submit, just in case it did stop. Don't even need the pair. Yeah, yes. Yes, don't even need the pair. Good to see this, bro. I also wanted to start something like this, inspiring. Yes, start anything. What you do does not matter. You just don't be fearful. Yes, I didn't even need the pair. Why would I need the pair? Because I do not care about the count. I only care about the total beauty. Makes sense. But I am right now doing another mistake using mouse in Vim. Rearranging. But that really is hitting very hard. Rearranging. Shit. I should have seen that. Because rearranging changes this thing. Here I am doing something with some number and the other argument to my operation is some other number. But after rearranging, like we did here, both the numbers are same, I plus 1, I, ci plus 1. So we just have to do the operation on the current number that we have. Chat. Okay, okay, okay. We are getting better. Tutorial. And the tags. What are going to be the tags? Mathematics, of course, maths and yeah, maths and constructive algorithm, data structures, greedy, maths, at least maths is there. I don't know why you would need sorting. Maybe because I used map, that is why sorting is here. And yeah, this is DP, this is DP, this is DP, right? Because whenever I am at some number, I am finding what is the maximum till this point, the maximum beauty, and comparing it with the overall maximum beauty. Yeah, and sorting with data structure, that makes sense. Now the editorial for this thing for A. Shit. Div 2A, div 1A. Div 1A and div 2B are the same. Okay. Let's rewrite the inequality, of course. Not inequality. Let's rewrite the equality given in the statement this. And yeah, this would be the actual thing. So we may group cities I minus bi, compute the sum in each group and find the maximum over all groups. For example, this can be done by sorting the sum this in an array. Be careful with the negative values of this though. Yeah, or just use a map. Check. That is cool. Okay, we did it finally. So that is cool. And I would like to go to the washroom and I will be right back. And may I? Yes, I thought so. My camera is gone because my phone ran out of battery. And I will be right back in a minute. Yo. And I am totally back. That is cool. Even though you cannot see me, you can trust me that I am back. Camera does not work. Okay, now we will move on to the next question. And let me try to charge my phone. Okay, the number of products. Okay, we have done two questions till now. One of them was a stupid thing. In one of them, yeah, this one, I just had to rearrange. And thank you for the hint. And I feel very bad because I was not able to see that. And in this question, we had to find a way to find the factors. And I am actually curious, what is the best way? What is the best way to find the factors? We do not actually have to find the factors if we are implementing in this question specifically, if we were to iterate through multiples for the given number. And you would understand if you read this question what I'm referring to. If you are iterating through multiples of the given number, then you do not need to find the factors. But if you are iterating through the divisors, then you need to find the factors. And I originally iterated through the divisors in this question. And for that, I had to use something similar to the sieve method, sieve of Eratosthenes, and found the factors of all the numbers, even though the method feels very bad. Let's see. Find the factors for all the numbers in a given range of about 185. Not one size fits all. Okay. Yep. You can care about efficiency, but not just brute force. Yes, brute force is bad. Naive approach. Shit. No, 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 no. No, this is bad. Do not do this. This is not just too slow. This is even. Okay, I will not call this stupid because I might have done a written code like this. But yeah, no, this is bad. But a smarter approach, we have a smarter approach, which is sieve-like factorization. That is what I did in my code. You can flip the logic. Instead of factoring each number separately, build factors for all numbers at once. At once, okay? Make an array factors n plus 1. Okay, I jumps from 1 to n. Yes, and then j, for each j, I goes through this and append to factors. Yes, that is what I did. If you only need prime factors, then SPF is much better than this. And what would be the time complexity of this thing? Let me calculate actually. Because we have a outer loop that goes from I, that shit, oh, notation, what notation? I goes from 1 till n. And then inside I have another loop j, which goes from I till, okay, just let's say not till, but this one goes n minus I times. So the total thing would be n by 1 plus n by 2 plus n by 3 plus dot dot dot, and this thing goes till 1, and take n common, 1 plus 1 by 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus dot 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 1 by n, which is a GP, where the base term is 1 and the next term is, wait, this is not GP, this is HP, harmonic progression. Shit. I don't know the summation for that. Summation for HP. Okay, there is no simple algebraic formula for the summation of the first and, okay, summation of first n. ChatGPT. Okay, on Google only. I need to express my thoughts clearly. Summation of 1 by 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4. Okay, shit, not just yeah, plus dot 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 1 by n. This is not Google, this is just a thing. Okay. Yes, that is the summation. As the nth harmonic number. Okay, notation Hn is this. Okay, it has a name, nth harmonic number. So what would be the 100,000th harmonic number? How to find the nth harmonic number? In mathematics, the nth harmonic number is the sum of the reciprocals on the first n numbers. Okay, we will look for the formula in Wikipedia, which is crazy. The thing goes like this. Nth harmonic number is n factorial in division. That would be for 10 power. We can take this as 1, not even 1. This is very close to 0. Multiply by n plus 1 factorial divided by n plus 1 into n divided by n factorial. N plus 1 to choose 2. This seems bad. Maybe I'm not understanding this thing. The harmonic numbers satisfy this series. The harmonic numbers are connected to okay, okay, shit. Stirling number. I have heard that term. Stirling number. I have heard that term, but that is not the thing right now. Calculation. The equality above is straightforward by simple algebra, and we would have this. That makes sense. Okay, shit. Okay, we can skip this, I guess, or maybe I will look into it later. What was the thing I was looking for? Yes, find a good way to find the factors, all the factors for all numbers ranging from 1 to L. I will eat dinner. Be back later. Shit. Okay, it is night in Australia. How? Okay, yes, Australia is ahead. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so sieve is the best thing to find all the factors for a given number. That is cool. That is cool. And we can start doing the next question, which is the number of products. Okay, stopwatch. Cool. You are given a sequence, this consisting of n non-zero numbers. You have to calculate two following values. The number of pairs, Li, such that if I multiply all of them, inclusive is negative, and the number of pairs such that if I multiply them, it is positive. Okay, so shit, every pair is either positive or negative. You have to choose two following values. The number of indices which do this and the number of indices which do this. So every pair either gives positive or negative, right? The actual values do not matter. The actual values do not matter. Only their sign matters. The first and numbers, yep. Give two numbers right here. Hmm. 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 Actually, the thing that would matter is in a given pair, what are the number of even numbers? Yep, what are the number of even numbers in a given range? The number of odd numbers. Shit, the number of negative numbers in a given range. So in this range, if it is odd, then I will add it in the list which makes things negative. And for this, when it is even, then I will add it to the other thing. So let's calculate this one manually. So here one pair is this, one is this, and then yeah, no other pair starting from here. Then one is this, and then no other pair. So three in total till now. And then one is this, and then one is this, five, and then six. Six should have been the answer, but it is not. Okay, maybe I made a mistake. One, two, right, right, and then it would be positive, so that does not matter. One, two, and then three, that is one pair. Four, five, six. It is six. The first number is the number of pairs such that their product is negative when L and R are both included. And the second one is when it is positive. Shit, yes, for individual numbers also. So it was coming out to be 6. And then these two negative numbers also. Yeah, makes sense. That's why it is 8. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we do this? The actual numbers don't matter, only their signs matter. So I can maybe store this as Boolean values and pair up. Pair up. This would require some dynamic programming thing. Because would it, if I know the answer till this point, is there some optimal substructure? No, 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 no. I would like to know how much I can extend this one to the left, and then yeah, and I would actually have to extend it to know that. Wait, maybe I know that this number on the left is negative or positive to my current number. Okay, let's go to Excalibur and try to throw some shit at it. Okay, we have this. We have this. And we don't actually care about the actual values. What we care about is the sign. So we can do this. Right. And let's say for TP I gives the best answer, the number of pairs at this index. And if I have the number of pairs here, which would be 1, not just the number of pairs, number of positive positive things and number of negative things, and these two variables will just keep on increasing, right? So if here initially the value, depending on the sign, the value would be this thing, values would be like this, and then I see this, and I see that there is a contrast between the two, and this sign is negative. And shit. Okay. I, okay, makes sense. Okay, I cannot just add whatever the answer is here to my current running sum, where the values of this current I is derived from the current running sum itself. Because if let's say I'm here, then the current running sum would also have appeared like this, which has nothing to do with this value. So I should not be finding the answer for this one from the current running sum. Maybe I should keep a separate array which has the answers if I were using this thing. And I can here represent this as two separate arrays. One would have the sum of pairs whose product is positive, and one would have the sum of pairs whose product is negative. And if we go with that attitude, here for the first thing, let's say here is positive and here is negative. Here answer would be 1, 0. And at the end, we would just have to find the summation of this thing and the summation of this thing. Those would be our answer. But is it possible to fill this array like this? And then I am here. And I see that the current number is positive, but the current number is negative, but the last number is positive. So that must mean something. That actually must mean something. Okay, I know what the current number is. I know that the last number was positive. And these values, this would be flipped. Flipped. If this is negative and this is positive, it would be flipped, right? Yes, this would become 1 and this would become 0. This thing would be flipped. But how do I invent new things? First of all, this would, yes, first of all, since this is negative, I will add 1 to the negative side. So 1 already would be there. And then all the pairs that make a sum, that make a thing positive, that make the total product positive, that ended at this thing, if I multiply them with a negative number that is currently here, all of them would become negative. So therefore this value will be added to this and I would have 2 here. And all the sums that were negative, when I multiply them with a negative number, they would become positive and I would add this value to here. So this is the thing, right? And then I go here and here I see it is positive. If it is positive, then I do not care. Everything remains as it is. I will only add 1 to the positive side because this number itself is positive. And to its negative side, I just copy paste the last thing. Do I? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Right? Uh, yep. Do I have to copy paste? Yes, I have to. And then I see negative, so I increase the negative in this number, and whatever pairs were forming a, yes, no, yes, no, 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 no. Um, huh, shit. Okay, so there is some mistake. There is a mishap. No. Shit, yes, yes, this is correct. This is correct. This is correct. Because the things would be flipped and this thing would become 2. Because this current number is also negative. So I added 1 for that. And then At this point, if I was including this number, then till now, the number of pairs that were giving a positive sum was 1. So, and now since I'm multiplying that positive product, not sum, by -1 or whatever negative number I have here, it would become negative. The signs would be flipped. So this thing will go here and this thing would go there. That is amazing. Okay. And then 1, I add 1 to the positive sign for this number. And do I add or do I copy paste? I think I add. So 1 plus this 2 because this is positive. So just push forward 2. And then the last should that is the last number. So the answer should be, cut this out. The answer should be, one answer should be the summation of this whole thing, and the other would be the summation of this whole thing. And the summation of this whole thing is 8, and the summation of this whole thing is 437, and that is the actual answer, 8 and 7. Okay, we are genius. Okay, shit. Okay. So how do we go about this? We just solve this boilerplate. Okay, delete this whole thing. Yeah, and n is not very big. And then do I create a vector, or I can start finding out the answer right away. LL pause equals 0 initially. LL neg also equals 0 initially. And I need a vector. No. A vector of long would be cool. Not just long. Pause v size n. Yes, and vector long neg v size n and int c for int I equals 0. I less than n. I plus plus. We will do cn c. Right, we have the current number. And now, if c lower than 0, if c is negative, okay, we also have to initialize our answer, which we will do by taking the first number right here. Now, if c lower than 0, if c is negative, then neg plus plus, uh, two things would happen. Neg plus plus, and second neg v for 0 equals else pause plus plus, and pause v for 0 is 1. Or we could be good human beings and write this, a good Samaritan. And then, yep, what do we do here? If the current number is negative, then everything flips. Neg v for the current number plus plus, and neg v I plus equals neg v for I minus 1. And also the positive thing also flips. And yep, pause v I plus equals, shit, I messed up a little bit. Pause v and neg v because they will flip, else pos vi plus plus, right, and pos vi plus equals pos vi minus 1. And why am I being stupid? I know what the thing is. I can just do this, and then neg vi plus equals neg vi minus 1. And then for the total answer, neg plus equals neg vi, the number of negative pairs, the number of pairs that would result in a negative sum at this current index, add that to the total negative, and pos plus equals pos v poison iv. Okay, and first I have to output the number of negatives and then the number of positives. Okay, first we go negative and then we go positive, as should be in life. Correct, correct, and correct. And now before submitting, we have the option to go through our code and make sure that it runs correctly, or we have the we have the second option of deleting everything and writing everything from scratch again. And since we are good competitive programmers, we do the later. Int n, yep. And also I will make sure that the limits are correct. N is, yeah, n is good. And long neg equals 0 and pos equals 0. And what do I need? Current neg equals 0 and current pos equals 0. I don't even need a vector to store everything. Now, if, and also in C, take in the current number, and if C lower than 0, if C is negative, then what will I have? Neg total count will increase and current neg plus plus. Else, if that is not the case, then pos plus plus and current positive would also be increased. And then for in I equals 1, I less than n I plus plus, what do we have? Take in the current number, and if C lower than 0, if C is negative, then the current negative plus equal, no. The current negative increases. No. First, swap neg current neg and current pos, and then C neg plus plus. Else, current pos plus plus, and then pos plus equals C pos and neg plus equals C neg. C out neg space pos and a new line. Okay, hopefully, hope. Shit, 20 minutes feels like a very long time, and it is because I am maybe speaking. Okay, wrong answer, right? That is what happens. It's going on very slowly. That is going on very slowly, and my camera is also off, so you cannot see me. So we have done three questions. If this one is correct, and it is like, of course, it is correct. Look at this. Look at it go. Okay, we can say 22 minutes. It took us 22 minutes to do this one. 22 minutes. Okay, cool. And refresh. Did I pass the barrier and am I in 500? Okay, it updates, this thing updates every 60 seconds. So we will see that in a minute. And apart from that, why did it take me 20 minutes to do this one? 20 minutes? Well, first of all, because I'm not like totally into this. I am also goofing around and speaking and explaining my thoughts. But in a contest, I should be able to write this in like at max 10 minutes. 20 minutes is a very long time to be solved to take to solve this question. 20 minutes is bad. And yes, the initial thing that I had to figure out was this dynamic programming relation. That was cool. And I have optimized this so much that this takes just n time and the memory it takes is constant. It takes constant memory. I'm not even storing using any arrays to store anything. So that is cool. And let's see what the tags are going to be. But before that, let's try to guess the tags. It will, of course, be dynamic programming and constructive algorithm, maybe dynamic, but for sure, dynamic programming. But would there be anything else? We did use dynamic programming, so that is a given. Dynamic programming will be there. Maybe maths and number theory also. Okay, dynamic programming. Implementation, yeah, this thing is implementation defined. Well, everything is implementation, but I think this one specifically mentions implementation because you can improve your implementation by not storing the vector for the previous DP states because only the last one matters, which is very similar to coin change when you are calculating the number of ways to get to a certain sum. Only the things, yeah, if you change the order of your loops in the coin change problem, you can save a lot of memory. And combinatorics in the sense that number theory sense, yeah, this thing that we have to swap if the number is negative and just increase the positive number if it is positive. Okay, now the tutorial B, let's see, editorial, the number of products. At first, let's calculate value ans ANSP positive, the number of subsegments with positive product. Sure, that makes sense. No, no, no. How would you do this? How would you do this? We should iterate through the array uh, and store BAL, okay, wall, the number of negative elements. Okay, the number of negative elements, and also we should store CNT1 and CNT2, the number of elements, such that there is an even number of negative elements before them, CNT1, and or an odd number of negative numbers before them, CNT2. Okay, that is not making sense. Uh, but I do get this part, that we calculate the number of subsegments that result in a positive product and subtract that from the total number of subsegments, which is this. Is this correct? Yes. Uh, yes, I think it is correct. Because for 1, 1. For if I have two things, the number of pairs is this, and this, which which is correct, which is 3, and 2 into 2 plus 1, 3 divided by 2 is 3, so that is cool. And this is because when I have n numbers, I guess I will have to the right of this number n minus 1 numbers, and I can pair this number with these. I can pair this number with n numbers, and then the next number could be paired up with n minus 1 numbers, and then the next number could be paired up with n minus 2 numbers on the right, and so on, and the answer would be n into n plus 1 by 2. And normally when we do questions, we have n into n minus 1 by 2 because we do not consider a single number a pair. So that is the formula we use generally, but here we use this n plus 1 instead of n minus 1. Okay, this must mean something, but I don't know. I will, oh yeah, I would have to. Okay, we can just skip the editorial and suppose that our answer was amazingly fast, blazingly fast, and move on to the next question and update. 606. I guess doing one more question will push us, and we would be in the top 600. That would be nice. Let's see what is here. The unicorn shit. I am trying to solve some. We are trying to solve competitive programming questions and improving our rating. The goal right now for the first 2 to 3 months, for I guess including even November, half of November maybe, or maybe the end of October, the goal till now for the next 2 months till the end of October or maybe mid of November is to gain knowledge, as much knowledge as I can, and the main goal is not to just speed up and find the solution fastest. The main goal is to learn new things, because if I do not know about graphs, if I do not understand the fundamentals of graphs, then I won't be able to come up with a solution. Main thing right now is that. And there are amazing topics like DP and graphs, and in DP there is matrix chain multiplication problem, which uses in which the total sample space is 1 1 3. Okay, let me get this right. 5 1 2 1 2 for every edge, and there are 5 edges. 10. Is this 10? Is something like this. And these are Catalan numbers, which represent Catalan numbers. The nth Catalan numbers represents the number of ways you could create diagonals in a regular shape which has n sides or n edges or and n vertices, the number of non-overlapping diagonals. Yep. Here are five ways. In this one there are 5, so the fifth Catalan number is 5. And this doesn't only represent the number of ways you can draw these non-overlapping diagonals, but this also represents a thing called dick paths. And I am not kidding, it is DYCK, dick paths, which is if you start from here and you have, let's say, 3 or 5 total moves, or let's say 4 total moves, and in one move you either go up one square or go down by one square, and at no position can you go below this line. So how many number of paths are there of length of some given length? For let's say, let's go with 2. For 2 there is only one dig path, that is go one above and go one below. We cannot do this. Shit, red. We cannot do this because this goes below the line, so bad. But this is cool. So here the answer is 2. So the second dig path, there are one dig path with a length of 2. And then if we go for 3, number of dig paths with a length of 3, we could say, well, first for the first move we always have to go up, then we go down, or we go there. That is one path. And then we go up, and then we go down. That does not even make sense because my thing is dangling. I guess we can consider this. I guess there are no dig paths, or there is only one dig path here which is empty. No, that does not make sense. I guess we can consider these as two dig paths. And then for n equals 4, we would always have to go up. That would be our first move always. And then the last move would be to go down. So, and in between I have two things. So I could either go up, up, down, or down, up. And the answer is 2. That is cool. That is actually cool. Okay, so I guess the answer for this one is 1. And the answer for 5 would be 5. If the length is 5 and I'm going way over the topic like that, this isn't even the concern. I'm just getting better at competitive programming and programming in general. Uh, I'm not preparing for anything in specific. So here the first move would be to go up. Then we have 3 moves in the middle, and we can make them 1, 2, 3. And this is bad. This is bad. This is not a good move. We could have gone up, down, up. No, shit. If n is odd, how am I going to have any number of dig paths? Because whenever I go up, that has to be complemented with me going down. So, so, so bad. This is bad. Here, this is one answer. This is one answer. Shit, I think this is a legit dig path. Yes, shit, yes. My the last point could be dangling in the sky. It doesn't have to come down. It can be anywhere. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And we can move on to the next question actually and try to do this one. And how long has it been? And my laptop is going to die in a while. It's been 3 hours and 10 minutes, around 10 minutes. And we can move on to the next question. My camera is not working. That is not pretty cool, but that is fine. Yet, basketball exercise, which was right here. Okay. Shit, this might be hard. Like, what is this? What is this? Anyways, let's begin. I'll skip. I'll start the timer. Let's go. Finally, a basketball court has been opened in SIS. Has to hold a basketball exercise session. too many students have come to the exercise session and he will turn up into two rows of the same size. Yeah, and okay, numbered from 1 to n in both the rows. David wants to choose a team to play basketball. He will choose players from left to right and index of each player chosen player, excluding the first one taken. Now, David wants to choose a team to play basketball. He will choose players from left to right and the index of each chosen player, excluding the first one taken. Okay, first one is taken, I guess. Will be strictly greater than the index of the previously chosen player to, okay, except the first one. Okay. To avoid giving preferences to one of the rows, Amit chooses students in such a way that no consecutive chosen student belongs to the same row. No consecutive chosen student belongs to the same row. That makes sense. The first student can be chosen among all 2n students. There are no additional constraints, and a team can consist of any number of students. Now, Tamil thinks that in order to compose a perfect team, he should choose a student in such a way that the total height, shit, the total height of the students is maximum as possible. Is maximum as possible. Help Damit to find the maximum possible total height of students in a team he can choose. Okay, so there is a constraint on how I can choose, and then after choosing we have to find the team which would result in the highest height, greatest sum of heights. Now, second line is the height of the first n students, and the second is the second. Okay, shit, I want to maximize height. It isn't just 9 plus 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 3. 9 plus 8, 17. 17 plus 5, 23. 23 plus 30, 35. Wait, wait. 9 plus 8, 17. 17, 22, 29, and then 5. Why can I not choose 5? 9, 8, 7. Cannot be from the same team. Shit. Okay. Shit. Okay. It has to be alternative. It has to be alternative. Ah, shit. Okay. I cannot use dynamic programming here. Yes. 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 Uh, oh wait. I cannot use greedy algorithm here. It use dynamic programming (DP). Okay. For a given choice, I will iterate through here. Right. What would be the best player to choose at index 1 from both the teams? For this team, 9 would be the best. That would be my base case, and I will build upon that. When I'm at index 2, I will see what would be the best thing if I had chosen this. Hmm. If I am choosing this, then if I'm choosing this, then I can pair this up with any of these. And I just have to store the maximum, right? I just have to store the maximum. Yes, till this point, what is the maximum in the first row? for the students in the first row if my last thing ended at the students in the first row, and for the second row, right? So for this thing, I will pair this up with the maximum which has been in this row, and for this thing, I'll pair this up with the maximum which has been in this row and add the value of this and the value of maximum in this thing, and yes, that, and the same for this thing, and then compare the new value with the maximum which has been in this row at this point till this point, and then do the same here. Okay, less talking, and let me first implement, and then I will maybe try to explain what I'm trying to do. This is not very hardcore DP problem, and yes, you can say that I'm stupid. Shit, this should be like this, and then now I will have two arrays which I actually want. So vi a size n and comma b also size n, and I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus that c n ai, and do the same thing for b. And now we iterate. Okay, long mx 1 equals 0, mx1 equals, okay, a is better, equals a0, and ll mxb equals b0 for n I equals 1, I less than n, I plus plus. Yeah, for, yeah, for now this current number, let's do ll c mxa and c mxb. Current maximum, if I choose the player from A, would be the value of the current player in ai, plus the value of the current of the best player till this point in B, which would be mxb, and do the same thing. Okay, xb, and this should be A, and this should be B. This should be A. Okay, now I have, if I choose this current AI element, AI person, then wait, no, okay, it is correct. I thought that the number of people I chose from this team has to be equal to the number of people I chose from this team. Shit, that would have been crazy. Shit, okay, but this is correct. I do not have to care about that. Yep, if I chose the current AI number, then pair it up with the best in B till now, the maximum in B and maximum in A if I chose the one in B currently, and yeah, mxa equals maximum of mxa for choosing the current A, mxa, which seems stupid, mxa plus A, ah, ah, yeah, no, it is not very stupid, it is not very stupid. mxa, because I do not want to update these two values, mxa and mxb, until uh, I have the current values, mxa and cmxa. Do the same thing with b, fa replace with b, replace with b, and at the end, c out. maximum of mxa and mxb. Okay, hopefully it runs. Okay, it does run, and I think it is actually correct. Let's see. I think it is correct. 10 minutes. This would be amazing if it is correct. And I think it is correct. Genuinely. Shit, it is. Ah, okay. And I have also taken care of long, long. Okay. Ah, okay, cool, 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 cool. That's cool. Yeah, this one doesn't deserve to be in 1400 rated questions. This one was simple. Okay, what do we have? What do we have? What are the concepts that I applied in this one? In this one, shit, it is why does every question seem like it is using dynamic programming? This one did use dynamic programming, and the way that I applied it, it is like very, very optimized because I am keeping track of only the data that I need to keep track of. Okay, so it will say dynamic programming and constructive algorithm, maybe. I mean, every dynamic programming question is constructive. I would say dynamic programming, and it will say implementation. I'm guessing what the tags are. The tags would be dynamic programming and implementation, and yeah, maybe some other things also, or just like even less than that, dynamic programming. Okay. Now the why multiple tutorials? Okay, English and Russian, but why two tutorials in English? Was this Div 1 and Div 2 both? Div 2 editorial, C basketball exercise. Well, we got that right. Yo, good morning. And shit, wait, what are you? The best resource for starting competitive programming, I would say just solving questions from a sheet, any sheet, pick anything and start doing things. And John, yesterday I missed your comment. You were saying that you are going to go in some AIML thing, and the thing AIML and Web3 thing, and the thing is that you have no experience in that. That will be cool. That will be cool. You will be learning a lot of new things. I have not done any Web3 thing, but yeah, I will do. I will do next year maybe. Yep. And now the latency is very low. I am using this ultra low latency setting, and yep, it is going to be cool. It is going to be cool. Yeah, actually, new things. Candy box, and this has, yeah, it's been 3 hours and 24 minutes, and I have done 4 questions. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's cool. That's cool. And I've solved 5 code set problems. That's cool. That is cool. And have you given any contests? Because solving problems and contests, it like it feels like before any solving any contests, I was very afraid before I gave my first contest, but a friend of me came to my house and he forced me to register in a contest, and I gave it, and it was cool, but I was very afraid before that. So I would say that just take part in a contest. It would be cool. I want to try at least 50 questions. Shit. See, okay, okay, you can do that. You can do that. But right now, since you do not have a rating, whatever you do, even if you solve a single question, it is going to increase your rating. You have nothing to lose at this point. You have just started out. Or shit, maybe if you solve 50 problems and you have already solved a lot of lead code, yo, Eric, back. Shit. Eric, you are from Australia and Rock is also from, not also, Rock is from America, from Texas, to be specific. Shit. Okay. And my camera is not working. That is uh, as it is. Okay, yes. And since you have already solved a lot, more than 200 problems on lead code, and if you solve 50 problems on code forces in your first contest, you would be able to get a lot of rating. Ah, bit masking. That is cool. Bit masking is cool. I also have to read about bit masking. Bit masking is cool. And yeah, I would be ending the stream actually in a while. Yeah, I won't be solving any more questions. ICPC Divisionals 2022 has a cool question on PBD ordered set. Shit, interview, you are going to take a job. That is cool. That is cool. You can make your setup better, and that is cool anyways because you will get experience. And ICPC divisionals, I have not seen any ICPC questions. Where can we see any ICPC questions? Problems. You can find ICPC 2022 contest problems on platforms like this or certain. This should be on the ICPC website also. 2022. Okay. World finals, problems, and input output data, solution sketches, problems. Okay, this is world finals. Shit, you have bought a PC. You had Mac M3 Pro before, and that is cool. Shit, do you have a PC as in that? What is the Apple version of the PC? That small brick thing. Mac Mini, Mac Mini. Do you have Mac Mini or some Intel based PC? Because if it is Intel based, you can install Arch and do crazy stuff. It is going to be very fun. SPPC. These I do not get what SPPC is, but 8050 graphics card for gaming. Sometimes I just feel bored coding all day. Shit. 8050 is 8050 I think is the latest. Ada Lovelace or Blackwell. Yeah, I'm not up to date with that. The business are the easiest by far since they are first stage to ICPC for okay. Okay, so individuals. Okay, in morning I have to attend classes of my high school. So before I solve lead code, then go to studies. Shit. Okay, shit. Okay, you have to go to college. I mean, you have to go to school. I have the privilege of just being at my home and solving stuff and studying. That is cool. And for today, this would be a nice end for the stream. It's been 3.5 hours, quite long. I did four questions today. That is fine. And I will look into um, the divisionals 2022 question for PBD. I don't want to go to school. No one wants to. I mean, not no one, but yeah, some people do. But don't go to school. Yeah, you just have to go to school for now, right? Shit. You became enlightened in your 12th, or in your 11th standard. You are not even in your 12th. And yep, totally agreed. Waste of time. And with that, I have to end the stream. It has been quite long. And yeah, good morning. And for Eric, if you are still here, good night. And for everyone, thank you for being here. Bye.